the photographer's worst nightmare. To go viral for the wrong reason. So if you have followed this channel for a while, you know that I don't have social media on my phone. I use the good old desktop computer to go on Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff. And my wife has TikTok and she was like, have you heard about Sepia Bride? And I was like, what? No, I don't know about trends. And so she told me about this bride who was unhappy with her photos, and it's all over TikTok, and it's a big thing. I have not seen it, so I thought I would watch it with you for the first time and tell you my thoughts like right off the bat.
Imagine paying almost $8,000 for a wedding photographer, and when you raised your concerns, they threatened to sue you for slander if you spoke your truth. So let's get into a little story time. So I found my wedding photographer on Instagram, like a majority of people in this day and age do. Her feed looked so bright, airy, but also had this goldenness to it, and I loved that. But the goldenness that it had still captured the beauty of like colors, blue, your skin tone, etc. You can see this is one of the photos from our welcome dinner party the night before our wedding, and it's a gorgeous photo, right? So this is when shit gets a little crazier. Our wedding day was overcast. Nothing you can really do about that. However, photographers should know how to shoot in an overcast.
Yes. Everything so far seems very normal wedding day. Overcast? That's okay. It's kind of easy to shoot in. Let's continue.
Situation. So she delivered the photos, and of course, right away, I'm like, oh my God, I love them. I love every single one of them. I'm like beaming of excitement. And then for about 30 days, I'm staring at the photos and I'm like, why is there something bothering me? Like, well, I couldn't put my finger on it until I realized I'm a makeup artist, okay? I was a makeup artist in the wedding industry for years. And I did my own makeup for my wedding. And I'm staring at the solo pictures of me and I'm like, I kind of look really pale and my makeup isn't showing at all. Like my hair has these red highlights in it and I look extremely dull. So I raised my concerns to her and she goes, okay, I charge X, Y, and Z extra to edit photos. I'll edit them to like enhance your makeup and whatever. Great. So what I'm about to show you, the top photo she edited to enhance my makeup. The bottom photo was me in real life. That was my makeup shot on just an iPhone picture. What did she put on my lipstick? What blush am I wearing? Like what is on my eyes, my skin, everything. So then I raised the concerns to her and she so kindly said, you know what? I don't think we're gonna come to an agreement. So let me send you some of the raws of that moment.
Hold on. Oh, the photographer said that she was enhancing her makeup, but it seemed like it was just like a white balance level. So I'm not.
So when she sent me the raws, I noticed something. This is the photo that she sent me that I look like I have a black eye in.
Oh, no.
And this was the raw that I edited to have a brighter, more natural feel. And also I went into my eyes to make them brighter. Then I noticed this photo. This is what she sent me and this is how I edited it. Like, you could see the difference, right? Like the coloring, everything, to me.
Okay, can we just pause for a second? Notice the greens. Oh my gosh. It's actually, at least what I'm seeing so far, is a very simple, just basic white balance. She didn't need to be charging for additional editing. This is not editing. This is just making the photo look real. Like when I put my light and airy preset on my photos, it doesn't look like this. And even if it looks like off a little bit, or sometimes the day is challenging, it has different light, kind of different lighting throughout the day. You just change the white balance. You don't. Okay, let's continue.
This is a better edit. So that brought me to look in even further to every single photo and dissect everything. I then came to the conclusion that I need to reach out to her and tell her that some of the edits felt like they were a preset that was copy pasted and I wasn't happy whatsoever.
Now, before I rip on this photographer too much, maybe she shows us later, but I would be interested to see what the photographer showed. Like, what was their Instagram like? Because maybe, I know this bride, she didn't realize that she looked super orange until later. Maybe she didn't realize that everyone was super orange in her portfolio. Maybe we'll see. But the rehearsal dinner photo looked normal. So, all right, let's continue.
Especially when I looked through further and noticed that the filter that she put made my teeth look yellow.
Goodness.
Like, what is that? My teeth are white. What is that? One last photo example. This is the ocean. It looks like we got married in Seattle. What is that? But again,
if it's a beautiful ocean, yeah, you should shoot in a way where you can pull it back and not just like overexpose it all. That's not super wild, but how orange these photos are, this is bad.
It's a beautiful photo, you know? I'm not discrediting her ability to capture a moment because that she was really good at, but it was the post edit that I was unhappy about. If you want to hear what happened in the rest of the story, like for part 2.
Okay, so before we get to part 2, man, this is bad. Like, this is one of my nervousnesses about the wedding industry, is that it is very easy to open up a wedding photography business, right? I did it. I just had a camera and I was like, I shoot weddings. The scary thing is making sure that you're prepared to shoot someone's wedding, and you're prepared to be able to edit it correctly. Otherwise, you can have clients that are super disappointed, like this person. And I don't think she's being ridiculous. All right, let's watch part 2.
Imagine delivering photos to us of the night before our welcome party.
Guys, that's bad. That is a bad. She looks like an orange peel.
Like this, okay? Like this. But then get delivered photos of your wedding day and you look like this. Like, can someone explain to me what this is?
Yeah, that's full on sepia.
Like, love this photo. No. But why are we like full?
Yeah, the look, you can tell by the grass and the greenery. It is no longer green. It's kind of like a puke orange color.
Sepia tones. Why do I kind of look like I have like a little bit of a bruise on my face when it's supposed to be like contour and blush? And then why is the sky gray? I mean, it was overcast a little bit, but at the same time, it wasn't that gray. And the ocean is gray. And then I also sent her this image where, if you could tell, my dad's eyes are like this and Mike's eyes is like this. Every image that is shot in this moment, everyone's eyes are squinty like this. Like, if it's too sunny, change our location. And let me give you another example. This was someone took this picture.
This is too bad. I don't know this photographer. I don't want to bash them, but we've got to, like, this is just basic details. I know as a wedding photographer, you're flying through things. You have so many photos to go through, but especially family photos. You want to spend the time. You want to make sure that you look at all of those details and you don't miss things like eyes closed, because like photos like that are extremely important to clients. Whew.
On their iPhone, but look how gorgeous the color of my mom's dress is, okay? It's this beautiful pink, stunning. And this is the color that she turned it into. It's gorgeous, it's fine, but she wasn't wearing coral.
Yeah, it's, again, I know I said like the word white balance 45 times, but look at the difference between the girls, like the actual like Tik Tok talking girl, her white shirt, and the bride's white dress. It doesn't look white, it's kind of brown. You know what I mean? Like, why change? A tip when you're going through and editing photos is to use, Lightroom has the ability to change the background color that's around the photo. So changing it from gray to black to white can be really important, so that you can tell the difference between, like, is my photo actually white or are my eyes just tricking me right now and making it look white? Maybe her like monitor was super uncalibrated. Why put your edits to change the entire like coloring of things? I don't understand. I don't know if you're curious. There's an ocean there. That is an ocean. But no, it looks gray. When in reality, this was the coloring. That's a little bit different. I'm assuming it's because it's a low aperture, where, you know, the sky and the ocean is getting blown out, and it's blurry because of the low aperture, and it's getting blown out probably because how they shot it. They probably shot it a little overexposed, I'm assuming, and I'm not able to pull it back. But it seems like the ocean was an important part of this ceremony, and so making sure that that is reflected in the photos would have been an important thing to get right. I think there's 5 parts to this, so we're just gonna settle in. Let's go.
Okay.
I've not seen any of this, so we gotta watch it together.
This was the coloring of the ocean, of the sky, shot on iPhone. Like, you see the sepia, right? It's
This actually reminds me of photos that I took in like 2013.
full sepia tone. This was reality.
Yeah.
This was reality. Okay, part 2.
Now, to be true, like my edit, when I use a light and airy preset, it does change the colors of the greens. It's not exactly true to life because it's a film preset. Like it's based on Portra 400, and Portra 400 does change the color of greens. And that's just like a stylistic choice, but this is just bad. This is just like a pasting of bad white balance over the entire image that's making everything look muddy. And
Part 2 on my wedding photographer threatening to sue me for slander. Let's go. So I decided to call my photographer after I wasn't happy with.
That's good. A phone call is best. I think as I was looking through some articles, I just like glanced at some of the articles, I noticed that there was Instagram messages, emails going back and forth. If there is ever a major problem, if I ever have a wedding client that is unhappy, I get on the phone. Like, so many things can go wrong by typing it out. Emotions kind of come across incorrectly. You kind of interpret things weirdly. Get on the phone with your clients if they have an issue and start the call not just being defensive. Try to hear out the client. And sometimes it's an easy fix. Sometimes it's just a matter of listening so you can figure out what they're actually upset about. But I'm glad they got on the phone. Let's keep going.
All of the edits that were sent to me, especially because it looked lazy and it was just a copy paste preset on every single one of them. I'm going to show you a little video on just the moment versus the photo, just so you see it further.
Man, you look so good.
Oh.
This photo.
The photo. We look like we're in the Rainforest Cafe.
Are we?
In the moment.
Yeah.
Makeup,
Wow.
skin, everything. I look like a Miss Simpsons character. So I text her, I said, hey, can you call me? She's like, I'm available at this time. We speak on the phone. I'm about crying on the phone at this point, saying, I'm so unhappy. I need to make my wedding album. Is there any way that I could look through all the raw images and just pick out certain moments that I could then edit myself? I will sign any contract that you want, states that I won't share these photos. They're literally just for a photo album for my family and I.
This is bad. This should not. Oh, this makes me think that this is the style that the photographer liked, not just a mistake. Like, oh man, this makes me feel sick.
And for Michael and I was practically like begging her and crying on the phone, just saying like, this is my wedding day. Like this would mean so much to me just to be able to get all the raws and edit them myself.
Now, I never share raw images, but I listen to my clients. I would rather do exactly what they want and at least have the final say on what the JPEG, the export looks like, than giving out the raws. It should never have gotten to the raw level. And I do that because they're my photos, right? They're my artwork, and I want to know what's happening to my photos before they go out in the world. And then they say, oh, Luke shot this. And be like, what? It looks bad. That's why I don't do raws. I don't want other people editing my images. Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm getting stressed. Okay, let's keep watching.
I'm not happy. I don't want you to lift another finger. Nothing. I will do all the work for you. She's like, you decided that you hired me. You knew my editing style and everything before you hired me. Like, too bad, basically. So now I'm crying even further, and my husband gets on the phone. He's like, please, my wife is so unhappy right now. Like, this is our wedding day. You're holding the photos hostage from us, basically. Like, what are you gonna do with our wedding photos? We're not asking you to do any more work other than just hand them over and we'll sign whatever you want. We even offered to pay her $1,000. She then says it's gonna be $4,000 for all the raw images. Okay, I understand that raws are never really given out for weddings and wedding photographers. But if I was a wedding photographer and my bride, the one day that she's meant to get married, the one day, and you're not gonna make sure that she's happy, what photos aren't you happy with?
That's I actually 100%. Even if someone is super difficult, which granted I haven't really had that. I've had maybe one or two clients, really difficult clients over the last almost 11 years of shooting weddings. But there have been a few times where someone has been upset about something, there's been a miscommunication, and when I just went out of my way to fix it, things completely turned around and were resolved.
Can we select 20 of them? Can we just give you the raws of 20 of them?
Yeah, it shouldn't have gotten this far.
It'll be
they shouldn't be having these conversations about $1,000, $4,000. No, fix it. Make your client happy, even if it drives you nuts. Like, that's what I would do, anyways.
$500. What I was willing to work on something like that with her, slams it down, tells me it's $4,000. Too bad, so sorry. You hired me. You knew what you were getting into. Well, no, I did not know that I was going to be working with someone that wouldn't make sure that the bride was happy at the end of the day, especially when they had to do no other work.
Part 4.
And because yes, I want to answer this question because yes, raws are pricey and I totally understand that 100%. The only time that I asked for the raws was once this situation specifically happened that I'm going to go into.
Raws aren't expensive. It's just, keeping the raw photos or asking some, like, honestly, it doesn't make raws aren't expensive. Raws are the photos that you already have. It's more about creative control than anything else. And this is also part of the raw high resolution, low resolution purchasing is more from the commercial world where someone is purchasing a certain resolution or someone is purchasing a certain usage to the photos for so many months or whatever. I think wedding photographers, it's like the price is more about the losing of control and therefore what that could do to your portfolio, what that could do to your brand, as opposed to just like making more money. This is very confusing to me. Okay. Oh, let's keep going.
Because you're saying it wouldn't be hard for her to go down and like cool down the tones. So all I wanted was to make this look like more like me, you know? It was like, I don't really like
just a slider, just a white balance slide, and that's it. It would be done. It'd be fixed. Even her hair looks like auburn brown. And at least in this video, her hair is more black than anything. Anyways.
Edit on it. I can't really see my makeup that well. And because I was a makeup artist for 10 years, this was important to me to have like a solo bridal portrait with my makeup properly showing. And so this was the photo, and I'm going to show you what the edit that I paid for. She then sent it back to me with enhanced makeup. I specifically asked, I didn't want like the warm tone to see my makeup.
It seems very clear that this photographer doesn't fully understand a white balance.
This is what she does. My lipstick, my blush. You want to see what the actual picture looked like? Hold on. Okay, so I put them side by side. The picture that I'm going to show you below is just a screenshot from a video that my content creator took, so you could see what my makeup looked like.
Oh no.
It's not even like that good of a picture of me down there because it's a screenshot from a video, but you can very well see my lipstick isn't that color or anything. So when I asked her to re-edit and I paid for it, that is what she brought me back. So that...
Yeah, so it definitely looks like she did do what she asked for. She enhanced the makeup, but that wasn't the issue.
That's when she gave me the raws. I think she gave me maybe like 10 raws of that specific like moment in time. And that's when I edited those on my own, which was so nice that she did that. I'm not discrediting that it wasn't nice that she did that. But then when I asked her for more raws, because I was like, I don't want you to do any more work. Clearly, we're not getting to like a happy medium here, and you're not able to edit them how I want. So can I have all the raws? I even was gonna offer to pay her a little bit, you know? Like, this is what I looked like on my wedding day. My hair, makeup, I just wanted to look like me. Not like this warm sepia tone version of me. And the only good thing that I'll say that happened was when we went into the lobby and it was after the ceremony and she used direct flash. These are my favorite photos. I look like me. There's obviously still a little bit of a...
Still kind of orange. It's really just the highlight from the flash is lightening her skin tone, so it looks more natural, but it's closer. It's closer. Still a little bit orange, but you can see her dress. Her dress is still not quite white. Oof.
Preset on it, but I look like me. Okay?
Okay. Part 5.
Whether or not her Instagram is showing that it's her editing style or not, okay? Oh, this photo over...
There it is. It's her style. I'm not going to look it up. I'm not going to say who the photographer is on here because I have no idea, and I don't really care to look it up. But that's difficult. That's difficult. The reality is non-photographers are going to have a hard time seeing things like white balance. It's just, I've had many people that I have taught one-on-one when they're getting into photography, and I ask them, is this warm or is this cool? Is this green or magenta? And they're like, it looks exactly the same. Because most people, their eyes aren't necessarily attuned to it. It can be difficult. It can be difficult when you have your client's view and their expectation versus what the reality is and what your editing style is. It's a tough one. I was completely on the bride's side up till this part, up till reading that this is the photographer's style, because at the end of the day, that's true. The photographer has a style and can stick to their guns in terms of being like, no, this is what my work is. This is my artistic expression. And in a lot of ways, the client can't do much. At that point, it's really up to you as a photographer to bend, depending on, what your client's asking for. And to be honest, I probably would have bent. If I had calls, if I had the couple willing to even pay or edit their own photos, like at that point, like, what are you in wedding photography for? Like, are you in to be your own artistic expression and just like have pure creative control over everything? Kind of, maybe a little bit, but otherwise don't have clients and just do personal fine artwork. But at the end of the day, you do have clients. And at the end of the day, you do want to make those clients happy. Otherwise, they will talk about you on TikTok. So, oh man.
Black eye. Please explain to me how a photographer thought that looks good. Once I got the raw image, I turned it into this. Okay, myself. I even had to go into Photoshop, and I'm not a photographer, and I'm not good at...
That's... Her edited photo, like, to me, looks way better, obviously. That looks like a great image. Honestly, it would be better with my light and airy preset. It would look even better than all of this, but brutal.
And I'm not a photographer, and I'm not good at Photoshop either. I learned how to use Photoshop, and I circled my eyes, and I made my eyes brighter. It's the simple things like that. There's only maybe 10 pictures of solo bride me, and she couldn't make sure that that my eyes didn't look like I got punched in like a black eye. You know what I mean?
It does look bad. It looks, her eyes look so dark. On it, that is a general difficulty. I know there's a certain level of easiness when you're shooting overcast days, but it can create a lot of, dark areas in the eyes and nose and under here if you're not careful. It can be tricky to shoot. But yeah, just like a little bit of brightening, a little bit of like, this photographer did not watch my masking video, my mask tool video on my YouTube channel. Oh, I didn't buy my preset. Come on. All of your issues would be solved if you did those things. Okay.
So there is something to do with editing style and versus the Instagram. However, there's also something about delivering photos to your customer that makes sure that specific person looks good. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't look like she has a black eye. And look, at the end of the day,
Yeah, I have to agree, but it also depends on what, like, the photographer may have looked at that and been like, that is awesome. Because I see that on Instagram all the time. People post things and they think like, oh, wow, this is like such beautiful work. And it's not. Like, that's why it's important for clients to be doing your due diligence, like see more than just portfolio images on Instagram, seeing a little bit more of what a whole wedding would look like, so that you know what the photographer thinks that looks good. Because that's really what you're hiring a photographer for. They are interpreting your day in terms of what they think looks good. And I guess they think black eyes look good.
and look, at the end of the day, I made a mistake. I regret working with her. And I'm warning people to not work with her because of the experience that she gave me afterwards. That's not to discredit the fact that she took beautiful photos, but the post-edit work, not my thing. And it just, she's bad business practice on her end with the way that she treated me afterwards. But that's something I have to live with on my special wedding day, okay? I have to live with that I hired the wrong photographer at the end of the day. Plus, I did give her a whole Pinterest board. If she said, that doesn't look like my editing style, and I gave her the Pinterest board before I signed the contract, if she would have said, that's not really the style that I like, that I edit or whatever, she could have also very well said that, but no, she was money.
That's very true. Like, it's just as, okay, yes, you can look at the client and be like, she should have known, she should have saw it and realized that like this is what how she edits photos. She should just deal with that. But it's just as much as on us as the photographers to make sure that we are getting clients that are good fits for us, because they don't know. They don't know everything about the wedding industry. And you as the photographer, when you have those little red flags, when a client says something like, oh, you can maybe tweak it, or you can maybe tweak your style, like those are the type of red flags that you need to be aware of, and then say like, maybe this isn't the best fit. Like, you know that this is going to be like this or whatever, because your client doesn't know everything. You're the expert in this scenario. And so it's up to you to make sure that there is a good client fit. Oh, this is horrible.
I'm hungry and just wanted the money for the wedding. Whether or not.
That's super cynical to think that she just wanted the money for the wedding and just do it anyways. But it's not a crazy thought. It's cynical, but it's not crazy. Okay, this is a lot longer than I expected it to be. The final part to this saga. Let's get in.
One last video on this because I didn't expect this to blow up in the way that it did. Half the comments are this, half the comments are that. And at the end of the day, I do understand both sides. I understand someone's artistic ability, and I also understand being the bride, wanting what you paid for or what you wished for on your wedding day, the one day.
Here's the reality. Weddings they are an emotional affair. And you have a lot of emotions. And she's very correct. She's getting married once. Like, this is incredibly important to her. Much more emotionally important to her as the bride than the photographer, right? Like, at the end of the day, this is my career and my job. And while I am incredibly vested in every single wedding, it's impossible for me to be as invested as the couple, because it's their wedding. And so the reality is like, a couple is not always going to just like think logically or think like business. Like, this is an emotional time, and they're going to be more emotional. They're going to think emotionally, and they may not even like think clearly even. And so that's why, man, if you're getting into wedding photography, you're getting into the people business. You're not just a photographer and it doesn't matter and you just need to be an artist and whatever. You're in the people business.
Your wedding day, you don't redo that, right? And so I was sharing my story more in the reason of being able to share exactly what happened to me and to really be careful on the editing styles that photographers these days have. Everyone has an individual.
I just shot a wedding a couple, was it 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago. And it wasn't actually even the couple that really pushed to hire me. It was the groom's best man. And he came up to me and said, Luke, you know, we were looking at a bunch of photographers and I saw your, Instagram, and he went to my website and he looked through all of the different galleries that I showed and the different photos. And he scrolled down my Instagram and he said, Luke, do you know why I said you got to hire this guy? Is because his photos are consistent across everything. My style is consistent at every part of the day in every wedding I shoot. And that is painstaking. I was like, wow, thank you so much, because it feels like that's work that no one necessarily sees, right? Everyone assumes that your style is going to be your style, but it actually takes an immense amount of effort and work and attention to detail to actually have your style consistent across all the weddings that you shoot. And so that gets me to how I can help you. If there's any of you that are struggling with that, I have an idea, and I'll get to that at the end of the video. So let's finish this final part, and then I'll get to that. Okay.
Visualize editing style. However, when I booked my personal photographer, she only sent me one gallery of wedding images, and I was so excited to just book someone that I just did it like that so fast. She also expressed that we would be going off my Pinterest board, and all of her Instagram images were more like beach photos and engagement photos. Nothing really had too much of wedding photos on it. And so that was really my mistake because I didn't look at that closer. But she didn't ruin my wedding, okay? There's half the pictures I love, half the pictures I do not like, and that I feel are ruined. There's no single solo shot of, so many different things. And, the day was overcast, but then there were sunny moments too, and the ocean was blue, and we got married in a beautiful island. And I feel like all of the tones didn't really capture that. And to close this off, I didn't just randomly come on here and share this story. This happened 7 months ago, and I tried to speak to her on the phone. I cried to her. My husband cried to her on my behalf as well. We were really upset, and the way that she handled it back to us was really
7 months ago?
really upsetting as well. Obviously, people don't get everything they wish for and everything they hope for, and that's what I walked away from. I walked away saying, you know what? I'm done with the situation.
Honestly, I am not, it's almost done. I'm not that surprised. There are way too many people that have come to me after I met them for the first time, whether it's friends or friends of friends or just like people that I meet in life, where they say like, oh, I wish I had met you before I got married, because I've heard so many wedding horror stories. And honestly, that is one of the reasons why I do this YouTube channel, is because I want less of those horror stories out there. I want to give you guys all of the things that I have learned and made mistakes over the years, so that you don't have to make them on your wedding, on a wedding shoot. And the reality, like, I've just heard so many stories like this, so many stories where they saw the portfolio and the wedding images were like nothing like that because they just kind of happened to get some good shots. Just like so many kind of heartbreaking things. Like, I love weddings. I'm a very like hopeless romantic, and it really, like, I legitimately feel really quite bad and sad for this girl that her wedding in a lot of ways is going to be overshadowed with memories of this. It shouldn't be like that.
But recently someone asked me about wedding photographers and if I had any tips or anything like this. So I want to share my story in hopes that I could maybe help someone, in so many different ways, in ways of choosing your photographer. And I would highly recommend doing something that is timeless and just classic and has true colors and just clean aesthetic. And another thing is that typically,
honestly, that's why I feel comfortable about my preset, for example, that I sell, that I use on my own weddings. I feel comfortable with the amount of colors that it changes or the amount of style that it impacts, because I have seen photos shot with Portra 400 from 15 years ago, from 20 years ago, and they still look great. They're not this super trendy look that I was doing in 2013, that when I look back at those photos, like, honestly, mine was probably way worse, more sepia tone than these. I like amped up the warm tones on everything. And I look back now and it's embarrassing to look at photos like that. But yeah, a true to life timeless look I think there's some leeway to make some kind of like style choices, but that's why I shoot with film. That's why my preset is based on film, is because it has that timeless look. And it's already kind of standed the test of time of 10, 20, 30 years. Anyways.
You do not get raw photos, and you do not get the ability to basically change anything for that matter. But we do have amazing photos. I have some of them here. These are from the welcome dinner, that welcome party that we had. They are framed in my bedroom, and I love those. And there's a lot of other ones that I love. I do not believe that all my photos are bad. I think she took the moments beautifully. I think she captured moments, stunning moments. It's the post-production that I wasn't happy with. Do you know what I mean? There are so many gorgeous photos. It's just the coloring and the editing on it that just washed everything out in a sense. And that is what I was unhappy with. So that's my story, and that's that. So I'm closing off this chapter of my life, and I just wanted to put that out there, especially because she threatened to sue me for slander. And when I thought about it, I was like, you're allowed to give a review. You're allowed to share your truths. You're allowed to share your experience, and there's no one that could stop you from doing that.
Oh, man. That was brutal to watch. That was brutal. There are so many lessons that you can learn from that as a wedding photographer. I think the first thing that comes to my mind is remembering how serious this is, and remembering how important it is that you are someone's wedding photographer. And if you screw that up, if you mess that up, it's not unimportant. And so I think this is a perfect time to talk to you guys about this, to throw this idea out. I have been considering a type of community, something called maybe Photographers Roundtable, something where you as photographers can chat with me, I can chat with you, we can have a broader community as wedding photographers and learn from each other. But some type of space where you can learn, but you can also connect with other photographers, connect with myself, so that things like this don't happen. So that 7 months ago, maybe one of you would be like in the community saying like, okay, hey, I have this client and they're freaking out because their photos look sepia, what should I do? And we can help each other, not have TikTok videos made about us. I think that's really important. Let me know in the comments below if that is something that interests you. And if you are interested in something like that, comment sepia in the comments below, and I will follow up with you guys later once we get it going to make sure that you have access to it. So, oh man, wow, that was a doozy. After I finished recording that first section, I went onto my computer and I was like, I have to know who this photographer is. So I sleuthed on the internet. It was pretty easy to find. And I looked at her website and I looked at her Instagram. And guess what? What was absolutely everywhere? Orange skin tone.